Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I'm going to talk about today is a topic of how to make your movies more enjoyable. So, for this video, I'm going to explain tips you can do to make your movies more enjoyable, which for this video, I'm going to explain it in a simple and straightforward way so you can understand it, you know, and obviously avoid common mistakes that I see even expert filmmakers make with their movies, okay? So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So the first one definitely is when it comes to making your movies more entertaining is to not make your plots too complex. And the reason why I say that is that I notice a lot of people who tend to make movies, even the best movies, their plots are too complex, okay? Because the problem with this method is that it robs the person who's watching a movie um for that matter, ability to actually enjoy the movie, okay? The casual person who might not be too familiar with the story, the plot, whatever, and just in general, maybe intelligence level might not be exceedingly great. So as a result, they're not able to enjoy the movie as much, okay? And the truth of the matter is, obviously, the more complex you make it, if it's really complex, even people who are more intelligent struggle to enjoy it, okay? So this is definitely something that needs to be resolved in movies because the problem with it is that when a plot is too complex, it kills the ability for people to truly enjoy it. You know, the average person, as aside from it causing chaos between two groups of people, the intelligent people who say, "Oh, you just don't get it," and the non-intellectuals who say, "Well, well, I get it," and all that type of stuff, all that type of drama. It also creates a problem because you put too much effort into trying to figure out the movie, instead of just simply just sitting there and relaxing and enjoying it, which obviously kills the experience, okay? And also the problem with it is that the more you focus on making your plots too complex, it takes away the ability to just focus on how can I make this story as interesting and enjoyable as possible, which is obviously your main focus if you're a filmmaker. So definitely, this is definitely the first one I have to mention when it comes to things to not do if you want to make your movies um if you want to make your movies as good as possible, of course. Okay, so the first one is do not make your plots too complex. So that's the first one. The second one is have a good balance between story and action. Now, this is another common one that I've seen a lot of movies do, is that they don't have a good balance between story and action scenes, in other words. Okay, you can go for some of these movies an hour plus before an action scene happens. And even though the movie still might be a good movie overall, it has massive portions of time where it's just kind of boring to watch. And obviously, if a movie's truly a good movie, you're going to watch it over and over again. And to think that you're obviously going to have to go through this huge period of time where nothing really happens is not really the greatest, of course, thing to experience and can obviously ruin the experience, okay? So the truth of the matter is a movie needs to have a good balance, okay? Because the truth of the matter is the most length a movie can be, especially nowadays, for that matter, okay, is approximately about 3 hours, 3 hours and maybe like 50 minutes maximum, okay? So you have to understand how to balance it out. Like, for example, you might say easily maybe the most the storyline can go on for when it comes to you know telling the storyline or character development or whatever before an action scene happens is approximately maybe a certain period of time that's less than an hour, maybe like 30, 40 something minutes, whatever, okay? You get the point. Like, there has to be a good balance, if anything, so it's more enjoyable for the person to watch the movie, if anything, okay? That is the truth of the matter. As if there's not a good balance, it's kind of boring. Too much story makes the movie more like kind of boring, and not enough action scenes makes the movie not as enjoyable as it could be. or too much action scenes, obviously can make the movie kind of lame because there's not enough story, there's not enough immersion into the story, okay? So there has to be a good balance between all those things, okay? So that's the truth of the matter, okay? So that's my second point. The third point, of course, is have good aesthetics, okay? Whether it is for the character and or the background, okay? And the truth of the matter is whether it's for the character, like in the fact that you have good eye candy to look at, so it obviously helps make the story more interesting because you can obviously tell the difference between the main character and, of course, the everyday people who are not the main character um, of the story. It obviously helps makes it more distinguishable. Let's make it more distinguishable, or I should say, you know, through making it more distinguishable for that matter, it makes the story more interesting because the character looks cool, and as a result of the character looking cool, it helps immerse you into the experience more, as you can obviously tell the difference of status between him and an everyday person, as well as the fact that obviously, you know, um, you know, it just gives you something interesting to look at when the character obviously, evolves over time, specifically if the movie has a series, of course. For example, it's just interesting to, of course, look at the character. So that's the first point. The second point, related to why good aesthetics are important for a movie, is simply down to the fact that it helps immerse you in a story. Just like, for example, Lord of the Rings, okay? Look at how beautiful that movie looked, okay, for crying out loud, okay? That movie was truly a beautiful movie to look at, okay? And the more beautiful a movie is, it helps put you in the world a bit. Because when you watch a movie, you want to feel like you're in the world of the movie, okay? And when you actually, of course, no surprise, you know, um, have a very beautiful background. It helps put you in a good mood if it looks beautiful, and most importantly of all, of course, immerses you into the story because it makes you give you a sense of adventure because the more obviously you go to different places and locations, it helps activate that part of the brain where you imagine yourself being there and so on and so forth. So it helps make the experience better. Okay, it's kind of like, for example, why people wear 3D glasses when they watch a 3D movie, let alone why they have 3D movies, because you want to feel more like you're there. So it definitely plays a very good role. So having good aesthetics is something that's very important for a movie, okay? And that's my third point, okay? If you want to make your movies more enjoyable, okay? The fourth one is have more anime like fight scenes. Now, this one might be a bit controversial because a lot of people don't like anime, but the truth of the matter is, anime fight scenes are naturally more detailed than Western fight scenes, even for movies. So, the truth of the matter is, definitely having more anime like fight scenes would make it more enjoyable to watch because it's more detailed, okay? So objectively it's better, and obviously the more detailed something is, the more likely people are going to be to enjoy it, okay, for that matter. Okay, just like, for example, people always tend to say that the food at this place is better when the level of flavor is higher for something than, if, of course, if it's lower, okay? And it's no different when it comes to action scenes. The more detailed it is, the more enjoyable it is to watch, okay? So that is definitely something that needs to be done. Besides, the best action scenes anyway, from like The Matrix and so on and so forth, pretty much anyway, are based off of anime fight scenes. You can clearly tell by the way it's choreographed, for anyone who's watched anime, that it definitely is based off of anime fight scenes. So in short, make your fight scenes look more anime-like. That's my fourth point. Now, my last point is have more locations in a movie, as this also helps immerse yourself in experience because it helps create a greater sense of adventure. Because when you have a movie that only has like 2, 3 places that the characters go to, it's more likely to get boring, okay? But when you have like maybe like easily like 4 or 5 or more locations through the movie, It makes the story more interesting because it gives a greater sense of adventure. It's just like when you watch a movie about pirates, you're gonna or something, and they go to different locations like all across the world, or any adventure movie, you will always notice you're gonna feel more immersion in it than when there's a story about like, like this person just stays in a city or something all the time and doesn't really go anywhere else. Then of course it's not gonna be as enjoyable, of course, to watch, when it comes to the experience of immersion. So, in short, definitely have more locations for your movie, at least maybe, minimum, 4 or 5 or something, different locations throughout the movie, as will help create greater immersion. So, anyway, this is my video more like on how to make your movies more enjoyable, and this is all I have to say. And simply put, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. So bye.